You have to know who God is for who he is, not what you want him to be or what you think he is. Well, when you see things like the Apostle Peter, Jesus said, Satan wants to sift you like wheat. And I would think if God's with me, he would say, but I stepped in and he's not going to touch you. That's my expectation of a good father. But Jesus said, but I have prayed for you, that you will make it through the sifting. What? I don't want to go through anything. I want to avoid the sifting. Please, God. Right? And so is that not a good father? And we have to redefine that, right? What's a good father? God knew Peter. And we read about Peter as very confident. He stepped up. He said things. He said, when Jesus said, I'm going to die on a cross, no, you'll never do that. I will be with you. He was the first one to profess Jesus as the Christ. Maybe everyone was thinking it, but he just boldly said it. So we see this bold Peter until Jesus was arrested. And then all of a sudden he turns into scared Peter, denies Jesus 3 times, right? But that wasn't the worst part. I feel like Peter went through, the sifting was when Peter went through this remorse and said, I'm not worthy to ever be with Jesus anymore. And when he found out that Jesus was resurrected, even then, I think he was thinking, I'm done. I'll never be in this movement, in this ministry. I blew it. But God saw it in a different way, right? And so we see his mentality, I believe, when he went back to fishing, it was like, I'm done. I blew it. And then when we see Jesus restoring him by saying, do you love me? I feel like God knew what he needed in that sifting. And what happened was his pride was totally broken. He was a different person afterwards. And from God's perspective, I believe he said, now that's a person I can use. And so that sifting, no matter how painful it was, and even though it probably broke God's heart to see Satan himself attacking one of his beloved sons, God's a loving God. And so he had a plan. And he knew what Peter could become, but not with that pride. The pride had to go.